Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about a Chuck Norris classic. This is one of his best. It's from 1985. It's called Code of Silence. And it's directed by Andrew Davis, who is a great action director. He went on to do Above the Law for Steven Seagal's debut. Then he did work with Steven Seagal again in '92 and made a classic Under Siege. And then he made his biggest success movie, The Fugitive, with Harrison Ford. So Andrew Davis is an experienced action director, and this is one of his earlier movies, and this is really good here. It also stars Dennis Farina, Joe Gazzaldo, Ralph Foodie, Mike Genovese, Molly Hagan, and Henry Silva. So you have a good cast here. It's actually really well acted. Now, this movie starts out, Chuck Norris plays Eddie Cusack, and he set up a drug bust because he's setting up a sting operation, and there's the Camacho family who's doing a big drug deal, and he wants to bust them. So they follow it in, and they go to this house to get everything set up, and they're going to bust them. You know, everything's been set up and planned beautifully, or so they thought. But then Mike Genovese's character, Crazy Tony Luna, who's part of a mob family in Chicago, he wants to rip them off. So he shoots up the place and gets away with the drugs and the money, which starts a war between the Camachos and the Lunas. And also, when the cops tried to bust them, everything that could go wrong is going wrong. And Craigie, who's an older cop, and he drinks on the job some, and he shoots an innocent kid in the apartment complex because, he was startled. He turned around and just shot him. It's just a kid, like 15-year-old kid, that looked to see what was going on. But Craigie plants a gun on him, to cover his ass. And Joe Gazzaldo, who plays Detective Nick, he sees him, but because of that code with the cops, you don't rat on the cops, he goes along with it, even though he knows it's wrong, and it's eating him up, and that plays into the plot later. But now you're going to have a mob war, because the Camachos are coming in. Henry Silva's Luis Camacho. He's the head of this thing, and he is quite ruthless. And so he goes after the Lunas. And the innocent daughter, played by Molly Hagan, her name's Diana Luna. She's like, I'm not involved in my dad's business. I just want to live my life. I really don't like being associated with him. But they come after her to get to him. So Eddie Cusack has to protect her, and now he's out without a partner, and Detective Nick's assigned to him, and Nick confides to Eddie Cusack's like, I saw Craigie plant that gun, it's eating me alive, I don't know what to do, because the cops have each other's back, and they don't know that Craigie planted the gun. They just, because Craigie said, hey, I was just defending myself, and so the cops are going to back him up, but they don't know the truth. But Eddie Cusack isn't big on Craigie, and he has his own suspicions. But he tells Detective Nick, like, look, I'll back you up if you tell the truth, And so Detective Nick, he just has all this pressure on him because he doesn't want to be the rat, but he looks up to Eddie Cusack because he wants to be a good cop, and Eddie Cusack has this code of honor. So that's where it all comes together. So Eddie Cusack protects Diana Luna because there's several factions coming after her. So he looks after her, and where the plot thickens is because he wouldn't back up Detective Craigie, and he wouldn't sign a petition, giving his support. He even testified saying, I said last year this guy's burned out, and he's a danger to us. He shouldn't have a badge anymore. He's a danger to his fellow officers and, to the public they're supposed to protect. And so the cops kind of shun him, like, how can you tell a veteran like that? He's a good guy. And then Detective Nick, has to come to a realization, I need to tell the truth. So that all comes into play here because Eddie Cusack has to take on the Camacho family alone, basically, because the cops won't back him up because they think he's just being, disloyal, and he's not. He believes in the right thing, and Detective Nick has the pressure on him. What's he going to do? Is he going to tell the truth of what he really saw, or is he just going to go along with it, but he can't live with himself? So that's all. These have strong characters here. Now, this movie has some martial arts from Chuck Norris, of course, because that's what he does. But this is more of a Chicago action movie. It's kind of gritty. The musical score is great. Andrew Davis's direction, I talked about his resume. You can really see it here. So this is one of Chuck Norris's strongest movies. And I really like how all the characters conflict in the Chicago setting. So all this makes for a great story. It's told in an hour and 40 minutes. And it's just really one of Chuck Norris's best. And it actually got some critical acclaim, too. Most Chuck Norris's movies weren't viewed as favorably, but this one was. And it's more of a straight-up action movie, and Chuck Norris is more vulnerable here. He's not completely invincible. He gets beat up, and, he's really tested because sometimes the cops, his fellow police officers, don't back him up because they think he's not loyal enough. But in the end, it explores all that, and I won't give too much more away. But anyway, this movie has car chases, shootouts, some martial arts, but not a lot. But it's really a fun movie, and it's very well acted. And it's a great 80s, kind of domestic action picture, not all this international intrigue. It's just all set into Chicago and all about, loyalty and the brotherhood and all that. So all that's on display here. It's a really good movie. So let me know in the comments if you're a fan of this Chuck Norris movie or have you seen it. Let me know any of that. If you like older movies or ones that have fallen off the radar a little bit, give Video Mania 2 a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And take care till next time.